Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 8 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. Today, I want to kind of bring some clarity, look at this difference between worry and anxiety. The inspiration for this particular video idea came from a book called Upward Spiral by Alex Korb. He is a neuroscientist at the University of California, Los Angeles. And he has written a wonderful book that goes deeply into the neuroscience of worry, anxiety, depression, etc. And for those of you who really like detail and really want to know exactly what's going on in the brain, he goes into detail in a way that is pretty amazing. I'm a little bit more practical in the sense that I just want to understand enough to be able to influence the process. So rather than looking at the brain in this way, I like to look at the brain basically in this way: top, middle, and lower brain. Because each of these parts of the brain do something different. And I think the more we understand what they do and can influence the process, the more influence we can have in our life and the lives of others. That's what my life from the top of the mind philosophy is all about. It shows us how the brain works in terms of this top, middle, and lower brain, gives us a model for shifting from this lower reactive brain up into what I call the top of the mind, the neocortex, more information about how to stay there, and then some information about how to deal with other people who are stuck in this lower brain. How do we get them to shift from the resistant brain to the receptive brain? This is what I go around the world teaching to organizations and leaders and churches and schools and anybody who is interested. So if that's something you want me to do for you, let me know. I'll be happy to talk with you about that. So let's see if we can look at this neuroscience and kind of look at it in terms of the difference between worry and anxiety. There's a quote that I love that I use in almost all of my seminars from Albert Einstein that says, "Problems cannot be solved at the same level of awareness that created it." So what I want to do is bring you new awareness to this difference between worry and anxiety so that we can use that awareness to solve problems. So one of the things that Dr. Korb talks about that I really like, he says, okay, the difference between worry and anxiety is that worry is thinking about a problem where anxiety is feeling it. And that's true. Worry is a little bit more of a cognitive or cognition experience, where anxiety is more of an emotional experience. The problem is, have you noticed they kind of feed off of each other? Worry can trigger anxiety, anxiety can trigger worry. And I think there's sometimes this kind of experience that if we're worried, we should be anxious, or if we're anxious, we should be worried. And unfortunately, what I think that does is that traps us in this lower reactive brain. Now, when we're in a situation where fight or flight or reacting without thinking to a dangerous situation, somebody slams on their brakes in front of us, somebody jumps out at us from the bushes, then that anxiety and worry works really well. We go into that reactive brain. We react almost without thinking, and we possibly kind of escape from danger or fight whatever is looking to harm us. Great. I think the challenge is we need to understand when we are worried or anxious in situations that don't call for that kind of reaction, that can get in the way of our ability to create the life we want. Because again, it traps us in this lower brain. And this lower brain is not very smart, and it has a tendency to see almost any situation as negative as dangerous. And we can find ourselves trapped in this lower brain, kind of feeding that worry or anxiety. There's another quote I use in my seminars that said, it's really not just what we feel, but what we feed that creates our experience of life. So rather than that worry feeding anxiety, that anxiety feeding worry, I suggest we shift to a more purposeful perspective in dealing with this particular problem. Raise our level of awareness of what's going on, what part of the brain we're in, and then use awareness to be able to deal with the situation. Because awareness comes from the aware part of the brain, mostly these frontal lobes, this executive function part of the brain, where we can look at a situation and go, okay, I've got some clarity about that. I've got some awareness about that. Now, there are situations where concern is a very understandable thought, feeling, perspective. If there's something we want to be concerned about or think we need to be concerned about, we can look at that. Say, all right, I've got some concerns here. Now the question is, can I do anything about that right now? If so, we take action to do whatever we want to do to look at and deal with the concerns. If the answer is no, I really can't do anything about that right now, then I think what a lot of people do is just take no action. But the problem with taking no action, it just leaves us with no action, you know? And I think what we want to do instead is actually take an action that helps us create the experience of life we want right now. Is this connecting with a friend? Is this reading a book? Is this doing something, making some plans, doing something, taking some action that allows us to create the experience of life we want right now? Another wonderful book out there by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. And he said so much of our, what he calls body pain or pain body, or the things that get in the way of our ability to be happy, is this worry about the past and or anxiety about the future. So if we can ask this question, all right, is there something I am concerned about? And concern is not worry. Concern just looks at a situation and goes, all right, is there something that deserves my attention here? Because if I don't give it that attention, you know, then something could happen that would be incongruent with the experience of life I want right now. If so, can I do something about it right now? If so, let me do that. If not, what action do I want to take again that allows me to create the experience of life I want right now? What that does is it keeps us from having worry trigger anxiety, anxiety trigger worry, and trap us in this lower brain. And instead, it helps us raise our level of awareness literally up into the top of the mind, where we can begin to make decisions about the experience of life we want to create, qualities or characteristics we want to bring to life. And that allows us to be more influential in our life and the lives of others. If this is something you would like for you, your organization, and you'd like me to come and kind of share my life from the top of the mind philosophy with you, your organization, all you got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in. Love to talk with you about that. If you're liking these videos, please hit the like button, share them with your friends if you would, you know, Pinterest and YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. I love it when you like it. So it allows us to kind of take what we like and kind of share it with the world. In the meantime, I'm going to try to bring you a new video every week, kind of look at my philosophy of life from the top of the mind, look at a situation that comes up in my seminars and my counseling, see if we can apply this system to that so that we can be more influential in our life and lives of others. So until we meet again, here's to you, bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.